Anza hiyo kitu.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
How do you do?
Good afternoon.
Okay,
You're fine.
so today we are going to. I'm Crispin Oso, and I'm going to take you through economics, and that's public finance. So the objectives of this lesson, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to define the term public finance, should be able to identify the sources of government revenue, and you should be also able to identify the purpose of taxation, and lastly you should be able to explain the principles of taxation. Okay, so we are going to start with the meaning of public finance. So public finance, it's a branch of economics that studies the financing of public activities and the impact of various ways of raising government revenue and expenditure. I hope you've all got that. So before we go to the next objective, which is the sources of government revenue, so I'm going to ask one of you, can any one of you be able to identify the one of sources of government revenue? Mutunga?
Yes.
Can you identify the source of government revenue, please? Yes, state.
Source of government source of government revenue, there is taxation. And there is also custom duty, there's duty charged during court proceedings and the like.
Okay, good. Elizabeth, are you in class? Okay, it seems she can't hear me. So these are the sources of government revenue. So the first one are taxes, and as you know, taxes, it's one of the most important source of government revenue. And a tax can be defined as an involuntary payment by a taxpayer without involving a direct repayment of goods and services in returns. The next source of government revenue are land rates and the services. So these are just basically levies imposed on properties, where rent is paid to the central government while rates are paid to the local authorities, popularly known as kanjo. So the next one are fees. So fees is an amount which is received for any direct service rendered by the central or local authority. Another source of government revenue is external borrowing. It's usually done from foreign governments. It's usually received from foreign governments and international financial institutions such as the World Bank and IMF, International Monetary Funds. Another very important source of government revenue are fines and penalties. If individuals and firms do not obey the laws of the country, they are fined and given penalties. Penalties are imposed on them. This is usually where a person is taken to court, and thereafter he'll pay tax, he'll pay fines. So we'll go to the purpose of taxation as our next objective. So the first purpose of taxation is raising government revenue. So you can explain this by the main purpose of imposing taxes is to raise government revenue or income, whereby taxes are the major sources of government revenue. The next purpose is for economic stability, where taxes are imposed to maintain economic stability of a country. Okay, the next one is for allocation of resources. So the government can also tax its citizens to achieve reasonable allocation of resources in the country for optimum utilization of those resources. So it also ensures that resources are distributed equally within the country. Fair distribution of income is also one of the purpose of taxation, whereby in any country some people will be rich and others will be poor due to limited opportunities and numerous hindrances to becoming wealthy. So taxes can be imposed which aims to achieve equality in the distribution of national income. Social welfare. Some commodities such as wines, spirits, beer, cigarettes are harmful to human health. To discourage wide consumption of these harmful commodities, taxes are imposed to make the commodities more expensive and therefore out of reach of many. So the government may impose taxes so that the alcohol mostly the citizens do not consume. Okay, Mutunga, our next objective is principles of taxation.
Okay.
So can you be able to state one or two principles of taxation?
Principles of taxation. Principles of taxation.
Yes.
Okay. Principles of taxation.
Okay, can anyone else in the class help me? Okay, no problem. Let me go to the principles. So one of the principles of taxation is simplicity, whereby a tax system should be simple enough to enable a taxpayer to understand it and be able to compute his or her tax liability. There is also flexibility. There should be no rigidity in taxation, whereby the tax system can be changed to meet the revenue requirement of the state. There is also certainty. The tax should be formulated so that taxpayers are certain of how much they have to pay and when. Convenience. The method and frequency of payment should be convenient to the taxpayer, like payee. This usually discourages tax evasion. There is also equity. A good tax system should be based on ability to pay. Then there is neutrality. Is the measure of the extent to which a tax avoids distorting the workings of the market mechanisms. So, does any one of you have a question? If there is no question, I'll ask you, Mutunga, can you remind us what we learned today?
Today we've learned about public finance. That is definition. It's a branch of economics that studies the financing of public activities and the impact of various ways of raising government revenue and expenditure on a country economy, individual sectors of the economy, and individuals themselves.
We've also studied about the purpose of taxation. Can you give us two purposes of taxation?
For raising revenue and economic stability. Raising revenue, economic stability.
Okay, we also studied about principles of taxation. Can you give us two principles of taxation?
There is simplicity, certainty, and convenience.
Very good. So does any one of you have a question? Okay, if there is no question, that marks the end of our lesson today. And have a good day and see you in the next lesson.
Bye.